Illinois, a Supreme Court order concludes. Justices are refusing to lift a lower court's order blocking President Trump from deploying National Guard troops in the Chicago area.
That's Fox's Jared Halbert. A lot of Americans have the same thing on their Christmas list. $1.7 billion. That's tonight's jackpot, the fourth biggest in lottery history. America's listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-393-1881. That's 800-393-1881. 800-393-1881.
Extra 106.3 and Fox are red. CNN and CBS are blue. If you want conservative news and talk, we have just the app for you. Search for the Extra app wherever you download apps.
Merry Christmas Eve. Folks, can you believe it's Christmas Eve already? I mean, here we are at the end of 2025. I mean, I'm sorry, folks. I just cannot believe how fast this year has gone by. I mean, it's been a tumultuous year, that's for sure. And you should be, and we should be, everyone in this country should be thanking God or thanking something that cackling Kamala Harris is not your president, or not our president. Folks, this is 106.3, Extra 106.3, the Morning Extra. I am not tough, and I'm not Laos. I am Victor Armendariz. Happy to fill in today, folks. I'm happy to be here. Listen, this is what happens when you're a little bit, down on the. Look, I joke with you guys. I tell you, I'm low on the talk radio totem pole. This is why I work on Christmas Eve. But honestly, folks, I don't mind. I love it. I will get behind a microphone any chance I can. And honestly, even in my life before radio, I usually always worked on Christmas Eve, or at least close to it. Not always, but a lot of times. I not all day, but I'm used to working on Christmas Eve, but I don't mind at all. Happy to be here. If you're wondering, who is this guy I'm hearing on Extra 106.3 again, or maybe this is your first time hearing me. I am Victor Armendariz, and I have a show. I'm known as the Mexican Not Afraid to Be American. Mexican Not Afraid to Be American. And I've got a show on Newstalk 95.1. It's a cool station up in the mountains, and I love it. And I love being part of Extra 106.3. And folks, it's just a great place. You've heard me talk about it just because you can't be in this studio and not be an Atlanta Braves fan, because this is home of the Braves, but you walk outside and I can literally touch the Braves stadium. It's just, listen, I've been here a few times now, coming in here at Extra 106.3 the studios, and it doesn't matter how many times I come in. Every time I come and park and walk past the Brave Stadium, it's just, I just love it. It's just amazing. And the fact that we can say we're champions. I mean, it's just, I know they didn't have a great season this year, but it doesn't matter. Next year's around the corner, and before you blink an eye, it'll be spring training, and the Braves will be at it again. And I have a feeling it's going to be a different season this year. I mean, they're going to come out they've got something to prove. And I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and the Atlanta Braves, I don't know how many, and maybe producer Jerry knows this, I don't know how many starting pitchers they started out with, but I'm pretty sure that every one of them went down with an injury. I mean, before midseason.
Yeah, I had a lot of injuries last year.
Yeah.
It's tough. It started just being pitching by committee.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the year.
I mean, at some point, I'm surprised they didn't call out somebody that usually backs up center field. Hey, take the mound. It's kind of like in soccer, folks. You guys, I love soccer. Soccer's my main, that's my passion, main sport. And there have been times when, if you're familiar with soccer, if you get a red card, you're out of the game and you cannot be replaced. So it's not like most of these other sports where if somebody gets thrown out of the game or an injury, you can sub that person, you can put somebody else on. Well, in soccer, if you get thrown out of the game with a red card, you cannot be replaced. So your team is down. So you get 3 red cards in a game, then you're down three men on that pitch, or 3 women, whatever, women's soccer, men's soccer, doesn't matter. There's the same rules. And so I have seen situations where soccer teams have gotten a couple of red cards, or their keeper got red carded, and they had to just take some guy that normally plays on the field and throw him in at keeper. Because most teams will keep 1, maybe 2 backup keepers, but there are plenty of, I have seen times when there just wasn't a viable backup keeper for injury, one reason or another. And so they had to put in a field player, and that is fun to watch. I'll tell you, it's fun. But all right, folks, listen, I got lots to get to today. Man, first off, we're going to try to get through a lot today, folks. I do have a stack of stuff. I do. Now, whether I get to it all, that's a whole nother question. That's a whole nother thing. But there's a news story out there that I'll bet you that you're not hearing. I know you're not going to hear about on CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, maybe CBS, because I know that the new what's that lady's name?
Barry Weiss?
Barry Weiss. I know she's running the show over there now, and a lot of people don't like her. Listen, don't be fooled by the left-wing moonbats who are going to try to tell you that Barry Weiss over at CBS is a right-winger. She's not. She's a left-winger, but she's at least trying to, what appears like, she's trying to bring CBS to a legitimate news again, to be a legitimate news source again. I don't know if you guys have heard, and I'll talk about it a little bit, that 60 Minutes story that she wouldn't let air here in this country. It aired in Canada, but Barry Weiss wouldn't let it air, and now the left-wingers at CBS. Here's the thing you got to understand. If we had a true, honest, free press in this country, the Democrat Party would never get elected again. Listen to me. I'll say it again. If we had an honest press in this country, and what do I mean by honest press? I mean, you're going to get a whether it's NBC, CBS, or ABC, or any of those traditional news, what we call mainstream media. If they really had journalists, if they actually, like every now and then they'll trip and practice journalism, but most of the time you're not going to get journalism from any of the mainstream media, which is why I like to call it lamestream media. But if they ever woke up and said, you know what, we're going to do some journalism. We're going to research a story, we're going to report the story, and we're going to give you all sides of the story. And then you wonderful citizens, adults out there that watch the news, you can decipher through the information we have reported to you, and you can come to your decision. Because you and we, the people, we ought to be smart enough to take the information that we see, do some research, get numerous sources, whether it's CBS, NBC, whatever. But if they were doing honest journalism, you would hear both sides of the story. And then are we each going to have our own prejudices? Of course we are. Of course we are. It's human nature. But at least you could take the information and you could, like, for instance, this 60 Minutes story. The reason Barry Weiss didn't want that story to run is because the reporter, or so-called reporter, who did this story did not go to any of the actual people who did the policy, which is Trump, the Trump administration. she may have maybe she got some statements, but she didn't use them. She didn't reference anybody from the Trump administration. So she's doing a 60 Minutes report on policy decisions that the Trump administration is making, putting, I guess, her own biases and some left-wing bias to it, but never once consulting with the Trump administration and say, hey, why did you do this? Is this the actual policy? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? What are the goals? And blah, blah, blah. And that way, when that story airs, you can put left-wing prejudice to it, but then you can also say, but this is what the Trump administration says will happen, or this is what the supporters of the Trump administration, this is what they expect, or this is what their experts expect to happen. That way, both sides of the story get told. As a reporter, I shouldn't be able to watch you and decipher how you vote. But I promise you, you watch CNN, MSNBC, or any of those PBS, NPR, listen to NPR, ABC, NBC. Watch these people, and you can pretty much guess who they vote for and who they support. And you shouldn't be able to do that. If you're a journalist, I shouldn't be able to tell how you're voting. I really, really shouldn't. And so that's why I tell you, if we had an honest media in this country, the Democrat Party would not get elected again. Because right now, 95%, I would say, of the media in this country run cover for the Democrat Party. The media, the mainstream media, is basically let's call it the fifth branch of government, because the fourth branch of government is the bureaucracy that Democrats and Republicans created. That bureaucracy that is in Washington, that is the fourth branch of government. But your fifth branch of government is the lamestream media, and they strictly run cover for the Democrat Party. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. But the story that you're not going to hear about, and this is just an example, I promise you're not going to hear much about this. Maybe as Limbaugh used to put it, a drive-by story. But I'll bet you, maybe you haven't even heard about this. But this week, it was either this week or maybe it was last week. My goodness, I should know that. The Republicans won a special election in South Carolina. Why haven't you heard about it? They made a big stink about New Jersey. They made a big stink about the socialists in New York. Why haven't you heard about South Carolina? They even made a big stink about Tennessee because they actually thought they were going to win that. And now, granted, over there in Tennessee, it was closer than it should have been, but it was still a pretty decent, easy win by the Republicans. And now they just won a special election in South Carolina, and you haven't heard about it. I wonder why. See, folks, this is why your media is not honest. They're just not. I mean, if they would do honest reporting, can you imagine if the media had been honest about Cackling Harris? All those times when Cackling Harris she didn't want to sit down and do an interview. She turned down Joe Rogan. They didn't tell you that until after the election, I believe. I know people were assuming she turned it down, but I know they had all kinds of excuses. No, the fact of the matter is they would not allow Kamala to sit in front of Joe Rogan. They thought it would be a word salad mess, and he wouldn't stand for it. But imagine all these things. Imagine if they were truthful about the inflation that happened under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I know they tell you it was about 9%, but no, that's not true. It was more than that. I'll actually get into some numbers today, and I'll tell you what the inflation actually was under 4 years of Joe Biden and Cackling Harris. It was way more than 9%, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when you're up there in Washington and you've got the bureaucracy behind you, you can finagle, and listen, both sides will do it to an extent, but mostly the Democrat side will do this. They will manipulate numbers and statistics to get whatever outcome they want. Just like most polling, you're going to design the question to get the results you want. So I don't know if I should say most, but a whole lot of polling, especially when it comes to politics and these questions that these people ask, they know the outcome they want before they set the question. So if you want a high percentage, let's say you want this to lean towards the Democrats, then you're going to word that question a certain way. You're going to lead the citizens that you're asking, so the part of the populace that you you go out and sample, you're going to lead them with the question because you want them to get to an answer that you already have predetermined. And that's just the way it works, which is why there's another guy, a friend of mine that does radio. He'll tell you on another station, I'm not going to mention his name, but he'll tell you on another station, he'll tell you that you should be wary of polls, but you can get an idea if you watch averages. And I agree with that. If you watch polling averages, you can get a good gauge on things. If you just look at polls, you're going to die by those polls. They're just not going to be right. They're just not good. Polling's just not great these days. But if you look at the averages, you can watch trend lines. And I am much more of a trend line person. So you watch those trends. But anyway, you see what I'm saying? You've got this Republican win. And look, it was a Republican area. Of course it was. It's South Carolina. South Carolina is a Republican state. And this was a special House seat election for the state of California. And granted, it's a pretty strong Republican. Now the Republican that stepped down and resigned was pretty bad Republican, so the Democrats probably thought they had a shot at it, but a Republican won. So when you're trying to look at the upcoming midterms next year, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about this today because it blows my mind. I don't think I've ever, if I ever get the chance, Neil Bortz, if you're out there listening, this is a question I have because I would love to pick your brain on this because Neil Bortz has been around a long time and Bortz is on my mind because he was in here on Monday with the Kimmer. But the question that I would ask Bortz if I could, since he's been around a long time in politics, he's been in radio, so he's had to research politics. He's followed this stuff. I wonder if he's ever seen a Democrat Party that's so discombobulated as it is today. The infighting with the Democrat Party, the fact that the old guard is actually being pushed out by the new socialist wing. I mean, have you ever seen a Democrat Party that has gone so openly to the left? I mean, past progressivism, they're into socialism, and they're not afraid to show it. Bernie Sanders is not afraid to tell you that you don't deserve or you shouldn't have choice or you have too much choice in stores. Folks, that's straight up communism. That goes beyond socialism and Marxism. When a elected official in this country is looking at you, telling you why do you have 100 deodorants to choose from, or why do you have options for this, that, and the other at your stores? You should have less options. That is, how can anybody in this country be elected that talks like that? Well, that's Bernie Sanders, and he's not afraid to do it. And AOC and Mandami, who's your new leader of the Democrat Party, this guy, I mean, this is a gift to the Republicans. And the question I have to people like Neil Bortz is, have you ever seen a Democrat Party that is really setting itself up to lose? And then you have a Republican Party, I guess let's call it the establishment Republican Party, that can't seem to get out of their own way. They are being given gift after gift after gift. And yet the Republicans are going to find a way, or they're trying to find a way to blow the midterm elections next year. It's unbelievable. And listen, folks, I'm not angry. I'm just right. I'm not angry. I'm just right.
Listen to the Morning Extra, The Kimmer Show, Neil Bortz, and all your favorite Extra 106.3 personalities whenever you want with the all-new Extra app. It's anytime show replays, all your favorite podcasts, and the latest political news from across Georgia. Download the Extra 106.3 app now for Apple or Android.
Hey, this is Matt from East Cobb. We basically bought our house from our in-laws. It was my wife's childhood home. One of the issues that we've had when we first moved in was our dog in our backyard. It was extremely shaded, could never grow grass back there. We resodded it twice. So ATL Turf Co. did an amazing job with our backyard transformation. They basically created a miniature golf hole. We have a miniature fairway. We also have a miniature little putting green. Consists of about 4 holes, total about 40 yards. So you can definitely work on your short game and your putting. After that transformation that ATL Turf Co. did for us, my father-in-law came and saw his house the way it looked after the fact of we had a putting green and a miniature golf course. Sure enough, he did the same thing with ATL Turf Co. He has a beautiful backyard, wonderful stonework, drainage, and a beautiful practice area for chipping and putting. Check him out online at atlturfco.com.
Time now for the Retire Wise Report. James Parker here with financial advisor Sean Maloney, founder and CEO of Retire Wise. Many people assume their taxes will automatically go down once they retire and stop collecting paychecks. Sean, is this a dangerous assumption?
It can be, because you know what? Lower taxes in retirement can be a myth. It's not always true, right? Remember, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits could be taxed, right? Your traditional IRA and 401k income is 100% taxable, so that needs to be accounted for. And that's why it's so important to find ways to reduce or eliminate your taxes wherever possible.
Tell us about the offer you have for our listeners.
Hey, look, now is the time to start looking ahead and identifying your tax liabilities in retirement. Well, we have a great resource for you guys. We have what's called the Retire Happy Framework Toolkit. You can get a copy today by calling or texting the word WISE to 770-802-2200. My team helped put together this just for you, and it's a complimentary guide. And the center of this is a copy of my latest book, The Priority of Retirement. It has chapters on everything from Social Security to investments to income planning. We include guides in there as well as on strategies for income planning, for taxes, and even dealing with recessions in retirement, among other things. So if you want to get this information in your hands today, call or text the word WISE to 770-802-2200. That's 770-802-2200.
Take advantage of this offer. Get your Retire Happy Framework today. Just text WISE to 770-802-2200. And the team at Retire Wise will get you your Retire Happy Framework right away. So just call or text WISE to 770-802-2200. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm does not provide tax services.
You and your buddy, you've been through a lot with each other. The ups and the downs. He's been with you every morning, noon, and night. You've traveled the world together. Heck, he was even with you on your first big date. But have you noticed he's struggling lately? Not performing on the job. He can't even stand up straight anymore. He's wanting to cry out for help, but just doesn't know how. He needs Dr. Deal and Total Body Therapy of Georgia. They can give him the gift of good posture this year, help him stand proud and become all he was meant to be. Now, take him by the hand, look him in the eye and say, I appreciate you, little fella, and we're going to get you some help. We're going to call 404-777-1911. We're going to visit stopmyed.com. We are going to say goodbye to erectile dysfunction forever. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. It's a hard conversation to have, but it's one worth having. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Online at stopmyed.com. Fox on Tech.
Apple is removing another brick in its walled garden. Apple has always tried to give its users a special curated experience through the years, and much of this is accomplished by making it hard for third-party software to be used on its platforms. But regulators around the world more recently have been taking the Cupertino, California-based company to task, like in the EU, which demanded Apple adopt USB-C charging and ditch its proprietary Lightning cables and allow third-party app stores, meaning EU users of iPhones can get apps for which Apple doesn't give approval. Now Apple is doing the same in Brazil, allowing additional app stores as part of a settlement with that country's antitrust regulators. Apple insists that third-party apps not policed by them will bring security risks. Apple continues to maintain its walled garden experience for U.S.-based users of iPhones and iPads. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Wednesday, December 24th. The FBI in Atlanta seized a fraudulent domain used in a bank account takeover scheme, halting a scam that caused about $14.6 million in real losses and $28 million in attempted losses nationwide. The scheme used fake search ads on Google and Bing to redirect victims to phony bank websites that captured login credentials, which criminals then used to access and drain accounts. At least 19 victims were identified across the U.S., including 2 in Georgia. 3 men who broke out of a compromised cell at the DeKalb County Jail, including a murder suspect, were arrested in South Florida following a multi-agency search. Authorities say they used jail phones to coordinate with contacts outside, then took a lift to get out of Georgia, and were tracked and detained without incident. And Georgia State Troopers will be on high-visibility patrols across interstates and highways through the holiday travel period as AAA expects almost 3.5 million Georgians to hit the roads. Officials are reminding motorists to buckle up, slow down, and drive sober. Last year, state law enforcement issued 10,000 citations during this time. Today's weather partly cloudy with a high of 73. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Merry Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve. What a great tune, this one. This is the Waitresses wishing you all a Merry Christmas. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Extra 106.3, the Morning Extra. And I am Victor Armendariz filling in today. Glad to be here. Just, I love it, love it, love it. Listen, folks, if you haven't gotten the Extra 106.3 app yet, get that app. You get the Extra 106.3 app, free app. Download it at your, whatever your cell phone you have. Get it on your app store. And get that app, have it handy, because you can listen to me whenever I fill in. And I'm on, every now and then and different shows here at Extra 106.3. Happy to be here and be a part of the station. But you can also hear any of your favorite shows here at 106.3. Anytime you want, you pull out that app and you can hear it. And so it's a good thing. Listen, folks, I want to take a second. Gosh, it's Christmas Eve, and I don't want to bring people down or anything, but I have to say this here. I want to ask all of you awesome listeners out there to as many prayers as you can send and well wishes to former Senator Ben Sasse. Look, I don't know if this guy he's a former senator, but he's not an old dude. He actually did a very incredible thing and left the Senate. He walked away from a Senate seat. I believe, and I bet you producer Jerry knows this, I believe Senator Ben Sasse walked away from the Senate a few years ago to, it wasn't that long ago, to be president of, I believe, University of Florida. I believe that's what he did. But
that is correct.
Oh, excellent. But what is amazing is there aren't many politicians that'll leave that kind of power. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you have the president of the United States, most powerful person in the entire world, and then to be one of 100 senators, one of 100. That's probably the next most powerful position to be in this country when it comes to, actually, not just this country, the world. When you're talking about world politics, being one of 100 senators in the United States of America is a big deal. And when somebody can say, hey, I've done enough, let me move on and let somebody else come up, that's a great thing. And so what a good guy Ben Sasse has been and is. But he's going to need your prayers, folks. He's going to need your well wishes. He's going to need everything you can do to send him well wishes, because he's just been diagnosed. Now, he announced this, so I can say this, but he's been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Folks, listen, cancer's awful, but pancreatic cancer is a whole nother level. And unfortunately, by the time you get diagnosed with this stuff, it usually is advanced stage. And advanced stage 4 is just an awful. And Ben Sasse, like I said, he's not an old dude. He's still a young guy. And he's got, I think he's got 3 kids. So Ben Sasse, man, if you're out there, or somebody knows you and they're hearing this show, get word to him. We here at 106.3, we got you in our thoughts, buddy, in our prayers. And, man, we're hoping for a miracle for you. We're hoping for a miracle for you. So, okay. All right, let's move on to much better and different news. Folks, I am Victor Armendariz, and I would love it if you would find me and follow me on social media. I don't make any bones about it. I'm not a fan of social media. I think social media is going to rot your brain. But in the line of work that I'm in, radio, sitting behind a microphone, you got to have a presence on social media. So I'm going to ask you to follow me, and at the same time, I'm going to ask you not to rot your brain by spending too much time on social media. Folks, if you find yourself, and trust me, I've seen this happen. If you start looking and going down rabbit holes on social media and you look at your clock and it's, say, 6 o'clock at night, and then the next time you look at your clock, it's 11 o'clock at night, then social media is rotting your brain. So I'm going to ask you to follow me, but I'm also going to ask you to shut it off. Limit yourself. Give yourself a little time per day and limit yourself on social media, because if you don't, it's going to rot your brain. It's just going to rot your brain. So, but please find me. I'm on X. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm all over the place. Victor Armendariz. Just spell it correct. Armendariz. The Victor Armendariz Show. That is my show. So I'd love for you guys to follow me. And you can always find out where I'm going to be next. If you're, look, I always tell my social media audience first, any news that's happening. So make sure you follow me there. I would appreciate it. All right. So in case you haven't heard, and this is really good news, ladies and gentlemen, the GDP, when you look at gross domestic product, and that people base the economy on GDP, and we just got the numbers out for third quarter? It was probably it had to be third quarter. 4.3%, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I want you to before I will be honest with you, my listeners, mi gente. Listen to me. Escúchame bien, mi gente. Escúchame bien. Listen to me well. I will always be honest with you. I'm not a sycophant for any political person. I'm not a sycophant for any politician. There is a reason that you won't see me or hear me have guests on my show. I rarely have guests. I'm not saying that I won't do it. I just rarely do it. I don't need guests to do my show. And I'm darn sure not going to let politicians grandstand on my time. Now, if a politician wants to be on my time, well, then they better sign up and pay some advertising dollars to 106.3. I don't know if I should say that. I might get in trouble. But I'm just not going to give you free airtime if you're a politician. Now, if you've got something that's a pressing matter and I deem it worthy to be on my show, well, then if you're a politician, you can call. Like, for instance, if you're going to run for governor in the state of Georgia, you can call me. It doesn't mean I'm going to put you on. It doesn't mean we're going to, we'll see. We'll see. But if you're running for the state of Georgia for governor, because we got a governor's race coming up, I would like you to call me because I've got some questions. And if you can't answer my questions, well, then you're gone. You're gone like a bad caller. I'm not going to give you special treatment to politicians. I'm just not going to do it. Most politicians don't deserve it, ladies and gentlemen. They need to represent us, and we need to hold their feet to the fire. And because I am a person of media, and because I'm behind this microphone, and I have quite the audience. Listen, folks, I'm not at the top of the totem pole, but I got an audience. And when politicians want to talk to me, that's okay. Every now and then I'll do it, especially if you're a candidate and you're going to run for the state, for the governor in the great state of Georgia. Then I'll give you leeway to call in. In fact, you can call in today if you want. But you can't tell me, don't have one of your handlers call. Don't have one of your handlers call my call screener and try to tell them to restrict questions that I can't ask certain questions or go certain areas, because they won't put you on. That's a rule. That's my rule. But if you want to call in, you can. 404-741-1230. In fact, any of you guys, listen, this is Christmas Eve. I know it's a Wednesday, but we're going to do Anything Goes Friday. Anything Goes Wednesday because it's Christmas Eve. So anything you guys want to talk about, you're more than welcome to call. Now's your chance. If you've ever wanted to talk to Victor, you can call me now, 404-741-1230. But I'm not going to have a lot of politicians on. I just don't do it, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't think they deserve the time and the free time and the free press they get. But I do make exceptions. And if you're going to be a candidate for the governorship of the state of Georgia, I've got some questions for you, and you're more than welcome to call me. And if you've got the guts to answer questions, listen, they're not that hard questions. They're just policy questions. They're really good questions. Trust me. So, okay. So here we are. GDP at 4.3%. And the reason why I said all that other stuff about not being a sycophant is because not all the news is rosy. This 4.3 number is a great number. It really is. And I'm going to talk about why it's a good number. But I'm also going to tell you some red flags that are out there. And if you are a regular listener to my show, you know I don't shy to tell you that there are some things, there are some red flags, and the Republicans better take heed. Even President Trump, I want him to take heed. Now, I am, you guys know, you know me, or if you listen to me, you've heard my show, whether it's been filling in for the other guy down the road, or it's filling in here at 106.3, or you hear my show, you know I'm an unabashed, unafraid President Trump supporter. I'm an unabashed supporter of President Trump. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to point out when there are some red flags, because I want all 4 years of Donald Trump to be a success. I want this country to be a success. And most of all, more than anybody, more than any politician, I don't care if I agree with them or not, more than any politician, I'm going to put the people of this country first. I'm going to put you, my listener, first, and I'm going to put the Constitution first. Freedom, liberty, that comes first. That comes first, ladies and gentlemen. And so that's why I will always be honest with you. So that's why this 4.3 GDP number is a great number, but there's a red flag in these numbers, and I'm going to tell you what it is. The Trump administration's not going to like me for saying this, but I have to say it. I have to be honest with you. And it doesn't mean I don't support the Trump administration. It doesn't mean that I'm all in with his policies, because most of his policies are spot on. They're growth policies. The reason why we are at 4.3% GDP, and honestly, it will probably even work out to be more than that. By the time we get through the fourth quarter, the rest of this month, and get into next year, and we really, really work through some numbers and see, we're probably going to be over 4.3% growth. And it's a great thing. And the reason this is happening is because President Trump has implemented some wonderful growth policies. If you have growth policies, you will grow this economy. You cannot tax yourself into prosperity, despite what the Democrats tell you, despite what the media tries to tell you, despite what all these elitists try to tell you. Remember this. When a politician, when a Democrat especially, when a Democrat in Washington tries to tell you that you need to pay more, you need to pay your fair share, those people are, most of them are millionaires, if not billionaires, and they're telling you, the middle class, that we need to pay more. They're out of their freaking minds. And this is the other thing where the media just will not be honest with you. And this is what I was talking about when I opened the show. If we had an honest media, Democrats wouldn't get elected today. Because you're going to have the media that will regurgitate Democrat talking points. Like, for instance, that corporations pay taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, corporations do not pay taxes. They collect taxes for the government. If you tax a corporation, they're going, whatever they're producing, whatever they're making, whether it's a service or whether it's a good, by the time that service or good gets to you, the consumer, we, the people, you, the individual, you are paying those taxes. So if you hit corporations with a tax, listen to the Democrats. We got to tax corporations. Listen to Bernie Sanders. What does Bernie Sanders like to tell you all the time? We got to tax the corporations. Corporations not paying their fair share. You got to pay your fair share because we got to give health care to illegals. I mean, we got to give health care to the citizen. Bernie Sanders will look at you in the face and tell you that we need to tax and tax and tax corporations. When he knows, trust me, ladies and gentlemen, trust me, do not doubt me. You will doubt me at your own peril. Bernie Sanders knows very well that every tax put on a corporation is passed along all the way. Have you ever heard of embedded taxation? Have you ever heard of embedded taxes? By the time the product gets to you, there's so many embedded taxes in that product that you are paying those taxes. So a corporation, when Bernie Sanders and the Democrats hits them with a high corporate tax rate, that corporate tax rate is embedded in whatever product they're putting out, whether it's a service or a good. So your Apple phone, let's take Apple for instance. Apple is a $1 trillion company, I believe, right now. Apple, you can set their corporate tax rate at 50%. And you know what's going to happen? You think they're going to pay 50%? Not a chance. Not a chance. But you want to see how much that iPhone goes up, and you want to wonder why it goes up? Because when you hit Apple with a corporate tax rate, by the time that Apple gets to the Apple Store or to the Amazon Store or to the T-Mobile Store where you can go get your hands on it, all those corporate taxes are embedded into the price of that Apple phone. So you, the individual, pay it. And Bernie Sanders and the Democrats know this. The media knows this. And who pays these? Have you seen? I see people who are bartenders, people who are waiters and waitresses. I've seen janitors. I've seen people all across the income scale, from the bottom of the scale to the middle to the upper middle, all with iPhones or with Samsung phones. Those phones aren't cheap. Those phones have a big old embedded corporate tax on them. I'm not even talking about the embedded employee tax and this tax and all those other taxes. But if you hit companies with a corporate tax rate, you, the individual, are going to pay. You know why? Because the only people who pay taxes in this country are the individuals. You and me, baby. You and me. And it's just like when inflation goes up. When inflation goes up, like under Biden, they drove up inflation on purpose. All right? They drove up inflation and because they wanted you to spend less. They want you to drive less. They want you to fly less. So they hit you with inflation. They want you to move around less. They want you to be stuck in a home. They don't want young people buying a home. Folks, I'm only telling you the agenda of the Democrat Party. Maybe other people won't tell you this, but you know what? I'm the Mexicano not afraid to be Americano. And I'm going to tell you the truth. You got a Democrat Party out there right now that's doing everything they can to do opposite growth policies. They want to stall growth. They want people to be in dependency. They want to create a dependent population. Folks, I'm going to get this out. I really am. Sometimes the Spanish gets in my head and the English gets in my head and they converge. And it sounds like I don't know how to speak. But the Democrat Party, folks, listen to me. This is their agenda. They don't want you driving gas cars. They don't even want you driving battery cars. They act like they want to put you in EVs, but they know darn well we don't have the power structure to power EVs. So their end goal is to get you out of ownership. And if they get you out of ownership, what are you going to be stuck on? You're going to be on a government train, a government metro, a government bus. You're going to be stuck on, and then what happens? You get to go where the government deems there's a stop worthy of you going. If the government makes a stop, that's where the bus stops. That's where the train stops. That's where the metro stops. This is what the Democrat Party wants. You can call me a conspiracy theorist all you want, but I am right and you are wrong. Folks, listen, I'm not ignorant, I'm right. I'm just right. The Democrat Party, look at their policies. Look at their policies. They want to make you dependent on government. They want you renting from the government. They don't even want you owning a home. I'm just telling you the way it is, folks. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Wednesday, December 24th. From the NBA, the Hawks dropped another game to the Bulls in State Farm Arena last night. Final score 126-123. The Hawks have lost 4 in a row. They're back in action Friday night to right the ship as they host the Miami Heat. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. The San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder faced off last night in a matchup of the leaders of the Western Conference. San Antonio claimed victory 130-110. Oklahoma still holds the best record in the NBA at 26-4. And in the NFL, a full slate of football on Christmas Day, with the Dallas Cowboys visiting the Washington Commanders at 1, the Detroit Lions taking on the Minnesota Vikings at 4:30, and the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Denver Broncos at 8:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Get a great deal on a new Subaru and give back. It's really that easy. For every new Subaru bought or leased during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru of Gwinnett will make a donation to national and local charities that our owners care about. The Subaru Share the Love event has supported more than 2,700 hometown charities. And by the end of our 18th year, Subaru and retailers like Subaru of Gwinnett will have donated more than $350 million to charity. It's the reason why we say Subaru of Gwinnett is more than a car dealer. We always go the extra mile for our community. And during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event, you get a great vehicle and support a great cause. With every new Subaru purchased or leased, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charities. Additionally, for every Subaru vehicle routine visit during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru of Gwinnett will donate $5 to our hometown charity. But it's only happening now through January 2nd, so hurry in to Subaru of Gwinnett, Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, and online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
The holidays are about moments that last forever. At Solomon Brothers Jewelers, every piece of jewelry tells a story, your story. Whether it's a sparkling engagement ring or a gift that says, I love you, we're here to make this season magical with exclusive holiday offers you won't want to miss. From bezel set jewelry in trendy yellow gold to essentials for that layered look. Explore our holiday gift guides or schedule your appointment at SolomonBrothers.com. And don't forget to check out our holiday specials, like our famous diamond studs starting at $9.99. It seems like every year, everything gets more expensive, except here. A 3/4 carat diamond pendant for just $14.99. 3 Atlanta locations in Buckhead, Alpharetta, and Sharpsburg. One tradition of excellence. Book your customized shopping experience today at SolomonBrothers.com. Solomon Brothers, where luxury meets love.
Hi, it's Los, here with Tom Mitchell, the Honest Car Guy. Tom, you are changing the way people are buying their next pre-owned car or truck. How are you doing it?
You know, Los, we found a better way for customers to buy a car. An honest way, a very transparent way. You pay what we pay plus our honest fee.
How do you prove that?
We even prove it to you by giving you a copy of the bill of sale at the end of the deal.
How much can people save when they buy their next vehicle with the Honest Car Guy?
I've saved people upwards of $20,000 and $30,000. I mean, it really depends on the year, the make, the model of the car, and the price of the car. You know, on a $15,000 car, I can't save you $20,000. We can probably save you $2,000 or $3,000. But it's through the course of the whole sale. The big one here that people don't realize, the financing. You go into the dealership, they tell you your rate's 9%. Well, really, it's probably 7% because they're allowed to make 2 points on there. The Honest Car Guy, you'll save an average of $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the price of the car.
Folks, if you want to save thousands on your next pre-owned car or truck, try the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or honestcarguy.com.
Hey guys and girls, if you're losing your hair and you're like me, you need a simple solution that works. You want the best modern technology with top-rated physicians. Something that's guaranteed to work, and that is Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair gave me my hairline back, and it's completely redefined hair restoration from the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address them all with a simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed atmosphere with the most experienced professionals. Tens of thousands, including me, have received Advanced Hair's breakthrough treatment, and get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one else in Atlanta can offer the Advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair. Fix hair loss today, starting with your free consultation. You're also going to get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. You want to make that call right now. 470-660-HAIR. Refine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. 470-660-HAIR or AdvancedHair.com. That's AdvancedHair.com.
It's December 24th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Eggnog Day, traditionally created with milk and/or cream, sugar, whipped eggs, which helps it gain its frothy texture and sometimes mixed with spirits. You can celebrate by sipping by the fireplace or the kitchen table with family or friends. Today is also Christmas Eve, as Christians around the world prepare to celebrate for the birth of Jesus Christ, as well as welcome a visit from Santa Claus from the North Pole. The Soviet Union invades Afghanistan in 1979, where they met fierce resistance from fighters called the Mujahideen. Way back in 568, the Byzantine church Hagia Sophia in Constantinople is dedicated for the second time after being destroyed by earthquakes. Born on this day in San Juan, Puerto Rico, singer Ricky Martin. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
Political violence cannot stand. And Extra 106.3 will continue on as the conservative voice of reason in Atlanta. We'll speak our mind, protect our values, and stand up for each other responsibly. Count on the Morning Extra, Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck, The Kimmer, and the legend Neil Boortz to always have your back. Proud to be the conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
That's it. Next week, I'm bringing my guitar. It just would be great if I knew how to play it. I used to be a bass player, folks. I actually did used to be a bass player. I miss those days. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 106.3 Extra 106.3, the Morning Extra. I am Victor Armendariz, filling in for Tug and Louse. Listen, I will always go straight to the phone. So when we have a caller, so I'm going to go to the phone. And by the way, if you want to be part of this show, please, by all means, 404-741-1230, 404-741-1230. All right, producer Jerry, who have we got?
We have Lewis in Beaufort.
Lewis, go ahead, buddy.
Buenos días, Víctor. ¿Cómo estás, papi?
Buenos días. ¿Dónde eres? ¿Cubano?
No, papi, yo soy puertorriqueño.
Puertorriqueño. Qué bueno. Welcome to the show. I'll switch back to English before we get in trouble.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure listening to you, filling in for the boys. You know, I call every now and then, but I do have a touchy subject to discuss.
Sure.
And maybe ask your opinion. I run a logistics department here in Beaufort. Over 100 drivers, minority owned and operated, and believe it or not, the majority of the drivers do support Trump and what he's doing. However, it seems like we've been either targeted at some wait stations because I got two guys that are being held by ICE in Mississippi, and it doesn't seem like it makes sense due to the fact that they've had work permits, they have their visas, everything is up to date. We do background checks. I mean, we do the whole works before I ever put anyone behind a truck. And so I don't know. I know there's a lot of raids going on. And everything, and obviously we're supportive of it, right? We don't want the bad guys here.
Exactly.
But do you hear that this is somewhat affecting those that do have the work permits?
Man, Luis, let me tell you something. This is one of those times, and ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to pay attention, because what Luis has done here is he's making the host look good. And that is your duty as a caller, by the way, Luis. You got to make the host look good. So I actually know a little bit of what's going on, Luis. They are actually, because of what California done. Now, there are things that are happening right now that I think are going too far, and the reason they're going too far is because of what the Democrats have done, and this, especially with the truck drivers, because of what California's done, and because of those licenses they were giving out to just straight up illegals. You know, they were illegally giving out license. And then you've got these instances where they've caused deaths on the road. So now ICE and Immigration Control are out there. They're actively looking and stopping. They're going to be stopping every truck driver. I mean, it sucks for you and your drivers. But here is the thing, Luis, and I'm so glad you brought up this point, because this is one of those examples. And you yourself, you said most of you guys are Trump supporters. I myself am a Trump supporter, but I'm not afraid to say this is an area where President Trump and his team, they need to reassess what they're doing here going into next year's elections, because not just because of going into the elections, but that's a big part of it. But they are. When President Trump was campaigning, Luis, do you remember he was talking about, hey, we're going to go get the bad guys first? And I hear Holman say it all the time, that we're going to get the gangbangers, we're going to get the child abusers, we're going to get the wife beaters, we're going to get the drunk drivers, we're going to get all these bad ones, the guys that are robbing stores and shoplifting. We're going to get them first. Trump won on that assertion. He won on that promise. But what's happening right now, it's still still not a lot, but it's enough to where it's starting to make Hispanics notice. And President Trump and his team, they need to hear me, the Mexican not afraid to be American. They need to hear you, Luis, the Puerto Rican, who clearly you love being American. You're a Trump supporter, but they need to hear us. Because President Trump won in 2024 because he got a lot of Hispanic votes, like you and me. And you and me aren't going anywhere. I know you're a business owner. You're not going anywhere. You know Donald Trump has the best policies for business. I know he has the best policies for growth in this country and for people to make more money and be able to succeed and achieve an American dream like my dad did and like what you're doing. But there are a lot of Hispanics that came over. They may not be married to the Republican Party, and they came over because of Trump, and they came over because in their communities, they were being ravaged by these criminals, the criminal element. Luis, I got to tell you, and ladies and gentlemen, listen to me on this. I used to live, now I don't now, I moved. I left the city and I got a bunker up in the mountains, and I'm not going to tell you where, but I was living near, do you know where, hey Luis, you know where Plaza Fiesta is?
Yes, sir, I do.
So I used to live basically down the street from Plaza Fiesta, folks. This is in the Brookhaven, Chamblee area near Peachtree DeKalb Airport. And lots of Hispanics. And I would talk to legal Hispanics, illegal, there was just a lot of laborers. And I would have a couple of yard sales every now and then, and a lot of illegal immigrants would come to the yard sale, and they would talk to me. Now, I did this during elections. I did it in 2016. I did it in 2024, and had my Trump signs out. And believe it or not, especially in 2024, there were illegals after illegals coming up to me and showing and telling me about that they support Trump. But then they would tell me why. So, folks, this is a hard break. Luis, thank you for the call. When we come back, Luis, stay tuned because I'm going to get into more of this immigration talk because it needs to be said.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
I get a surprising amount of blowback sometimes from wonderful listeners who think that I'm a little rough on the media. After all, these are just good, honest journalists trying to do a great job in keeping the public informed. So last night I went searching in my amazing Bortz archives to look for some examples of where the media makes their bias obvious. Now, I covered this one before, but it bears repeating. We're going to go back to 1996. Bill Clinton, running for re-election, wanted to show what a tough outdoor kind of guy he is, so he went to Mount Rushmore instead of Martha's Vineyard or Cape Cod. ABC News was there, and here's what they said. When Bill Clinton visited during his re-election campaign, ABC called it a place where American ingenuity and American creativity come together and form an amazing American accomplishment, Mount Rushmore. In 2008, Barack Obama went to Mount Rushmore. CNN, they were full of praise. Mount Rushmore, a majestic sight that every president should visit. 2016, Bernie Sanders goes to Mount Rushmore. CNN, again, said the whole thing was awe-inspiring. But in 2020, Trump visited Mount Rushmore. And here's what CNN had to say. Mount Rushmore is a celebration of white supremacy, and Trump will stand before two former slave owners on land wrestled away from Native Americans. Okay, I'm listening. Tell me how the press isn't biased. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A beloved third grade teacher from Idaho who was able to take her class to a very magical event makes today's Dean's List. Talia Marley is known among staff and students for her kindness and dedication. She was recently honored for always making a difference in her school, for going above and beyond the call of duty to volunteer, help, and stay focused on making life better for all of those around her. Miss Marley was rewarded with flowers, chocolates, and a gift card for dinner. But the biggest surprise came when some representatives from Disney on Ice heard about Talia and wanted to celebrate her and her class class by gifting her tickets to a show. Miss Marley was very touched by all of the attention, but she says teaching is a calling and her kids are her family. Her students love her just as much, saying they can all count on her to do just about anything for all of them. Talia Marley, you made today's Dean's List. Janice Dean, Fox News.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
An act of pure evil. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Delaware's governor is calling what happened at a DMV office near Wilmington, where a state trooper was murdered.
And moments like this remind us of the tremendous risks our law enforcement officers and first responders take and the courage that they demonstrate.
Governor Matt Meyer says the trooper killed was heroic for what he did after a gunman went on the attack at a DMV reception desk.
After being shot, the trooper pushed a DMV employee out of harm's way, and the suspect shot the trooper again.
Delaware State Police spokesman Rashawn Rich, a police officer, shot and killed the gunman. A nursing home's in ruins in Bristol Township, Pennsylvania, the morning after two explosions left at least 2 people dead, about 20 injured.
They're looking into the cause of the explosion. There's a couple different factors about that. PICO crews were on scene due to reports of a gas smell a full half hour before the explosion occurred, but they've also given us a statement saying that none of their gear or their gas has been proven to have been involved.
That's Hank Flynn with Fox 29 TV in Bristol. They're going to have a wet Christmas in California, too wet in some areas, with a risk of more flooding in the north from heavy rain all the way down to Los Angeles.
This is the most aggressive flash flood outlook that we have had in almost 2 years. The difference here is this is the first time we've had a level 4 flash flood potential post fires.
Fox Weather's Britta Merwin referencing the deadly and destructive wildfires that scorched communities around LA back in January. There are evacuation orders in the most burn-scarred, vulnerable areas. The Supreme Court is not helping President Trump in Illinois, refusing to lift a judge's order blocking a National Guard deployment to back federal agents in a crime and illegal immigration crackdown. But National Guard troops are deployed to Louisiana. Republican Governor Jeff Landry tells Fox.
They're going to be here in New Orleans. It's going to help us further crack down on the violence here in the city of New Orleans and elsewhere around Louisiana.
About 350 National Guard troops will be sent in. America's listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-393-1881. That's 800-393-1881. 800-393-1881.
You're right, and so are we. Welcome to Extra 106.3.
Christmas, I don't want to fight tonight. Merry Christmas, I don't want to fight tonight. Merry Christmas, I don't want to fight tonight.
That's a great message from the Ramones. Hey, folks, welcome back. Extra 106.3. I am Victor Armendariz. I have a show, Victor Armendariz Show. Happy to fill in this morning. If you're on the webcams and you're watching on YouTube and you're wondering, why is that goofball standing up and leaning over to the mic? Well, I managed to rip my quad tendon clear off of my knee playing soccer. Soccer's my sport, folks. When you're as tall as I am, which isn't very tall, soccer's a great sport. It's a great sport for short people. That and shooting. I am a target shooter. Love to do it. In fact, I have a great story. I'm gonna tell. You know what? Stay tuned, because I think after the next break, I'm going to tell a guy, we're going to have a Second Amendment update. That's what we're going to do. I do this sometimes on my show, Victor Armendariz Show. We'll do a Second Amendment update. I haven't done one in a long time. So let's do a Second Amendment update. We're going to do that. We'll do that after the next break. So stay tuned. You're going to want to hear this, folks. This is awesome. Especially if you're in North Georgia or anywhere near North Georgia, you're going to want to hear my Second Amendment update, because I'm going to tell you a place that you're going to want to go visit, especially if you have kids. And if you can get there today. So, all right, folks. So, Luis, I want to get back to his call, man. That was a great call, great point that he brought up. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something. I know a lot of you out there are hardliners. I know you want to go after all the illegals. And again, this is what happens when the Democrats do what they do. The Democrats, they went so far. The Biden administration let so many illegal. And this is what I was getting to at the end of the last segment when I had yard sales back when I lived in the city. When I lived in Atlanta near Plaza Fiesta, I lived among lots of Hispanics. I know what I mean and what I'm talking about here. I have an ear to the ground with the Hispanic population, just like Luis does. And I had illegal migrants coming up to me at a yard sale in 2024 with my Trump signs going, hey, we support him because we don't like the new illegals coming out. Now, I am not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. I am not making this up. I had actual illegals. And yes, folks, listen, they're illegal aliens, illegal immigrants. I'm not going to use politically correct language. I don't use politically correct language on my show. I tell it how it is. I tell it like it is, and it's the truth. Just like there are two genders. You're male or you're female. You can dress up like a girl if you want, if you're a dude, but you ain't going to be a woman. And in fact, it's an insult to women, but I won't go down that rabbit hole. But I had illegal immigrants. These are good people, and there are good people out there who listen. I mentioned this the other day when I was here. If you haven't been out of this country, you don't know poverty. You don't know poverty. Now, I understand. Listen, don't hear me wrong. I understand. I have been there, folks. I was at a situation in my 20s when I lived paycheck to paycheck. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to not have money. I know what it's like to live off peanut butter crackers. Now, my mom does too, but for another reason. She's going to kill me. Folks, we go to Mexico a lot. And I mean, every year, I'm in Mexico several times a year. And we go and visit coffee farms and we we have some business down there as well. And I go with my mom and dad. We travel together when we can and when they're able. Now they're getting older, but they still travel. My mother has been, folks, she's been going to Mexico since she was 18 years old or 19 years old. And it doesn't matter. She can find a way to get sick and she's going to kill me. So she lived a lot while in Mexico off of peanut butter crackers. But when I was younger and at a time in my life when I struggled and I wasn't going to, my dad taught us at a very early age, you don't put your hand out and ask for money. You don't ask the government. You don't wait for some government moonbat to give you money because, ladies and gentlemen, anything the government can give you, the government can take away. So you better get a work ethic. If you don't have a work ethic, you better find one. You better find one. But there's nothing more glorious than you finding what you love to do and doing it for a job. And let me tell you something, folks. Let me tell you something my dad used to always tell us also. There are going to be times when you're going to have to take a job that's not going to be your dream job. It's not going to be your favorite job. It's not going to be your passion, but it's going to get you. Everything you do from 14, 15 years old when you should be beginning to work, in fact, maybe even sooner than that. Folks, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I was pulling a wagon around the neighborhood going to wash people's cars to make money because my dad wouldn't buy me the bicycle I wanted unless I went and earned some money. And I didn't like it then, but it was the best lesson that I could ever been given because it started the work ethic. It started that really good work ethic. And everybody needs that. And so there were times And there's going to be times when you have to do a job that you may not like. But you know what? You know what my dad always said? If you're the sweeper, then you be the best sweeper out there. If you're a janitor, you be the best janitor. If you're a waiter, you be the best waiter. If you're a bartender, you be the best bartender. You be the best at what you do, and that's going to take you places. Don't ever think you're above a job. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I've done lately, and I'm not afraid to tell you this, I've done okay for myself. I've worked hard. I've worked very hard for years, and I've done pretty well. But you know what I did when COVID hit? You know what I did? I could have sat at home. I could have. I saved money. That was the other thing my parents taught us. My mom and dad taught us how to save money. They did. And so when COVID hit, I could have sat at home and just sat inside and hid like so many of you people did. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I went out. I was at for years, a pretty good corporate job. Pretty big, pretty high up, a director. But you know what I did during COVID? I signed up and delivered food. I got in my car and I delivered food. That job was not beneath me. I was not above that job. But it gave me something to do when everybody else was running around afraid of their own shadow because the government was telling you not to leave your home. When common sense should have told you, hey, I'm going to go outside. Outside's the place to be, not cooped up inside. But too many of you people gave away so much of your freedoms during COVID. It just blows my mind. Never thought I'd see American people do what they did under COVID and what they allowed the government to do to them. But I just want to let you know, folks, listen, you're not above any job. Don't ever think that a job is beneath you. Because whatever you do, you be the best at it, and that's going to take you places. So now, let me get off of that soapbox and get back to what I was talking about immigration and what I want to say to Luis out there who's struggling with this with his drivers. Because the Democrats go so far, because the Democrats have, and listen, there's a story out, producer Jerry, who's awesome, was just telling me during the break, there's a story in Colorado where Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, is going to withhold money or threatening to withhold state road money from the state of Colorado because they won't turn over their CDL licensing records. And the reason why the Republicans now, Sean Duffy and the Trump administration, are looking into the CDL license are because places like California, when you got Gavin Newsom, who is absolutely destroying California. Folks, you think the gas prices are coming down? Well, they are everywhere except California, and they're about to go up in California because I think they're about to kill another refinery out there. I mean, California is where you go if you just want to lose all your money. Yeah, it's like going to Vegas thinking you're going to win. Gavin Newsom is destroying that state, and this guy thinks he's going to be president. And one day in 2028, which is crazy to me. But you've got Gavin Newsom, who's a Democrat, who couldn't find an illegal fast enough to give them a license, a trucking license. And then they go across state lines, and then they cause accidents, they cause deaths, and it's not good. And it's happened. And now that that's happened, now you've got the administration, and they may be swinging too far. Listen, the pendulum always swings. The pendulum always swings. And when the Democrats go to the extreme and they let in millions and millions of illegals without vetting them, so you're getting the gang members, you're getting child abusers, you're getting wife beaters, you're getting drug runners, you're getting the criminal element, you're getting those people here, that's not a good thing. So then what happens? What happens? The new administration, the Trump administration, they're swinging the pendulum all the way back to the other side, and unfortunately, they're starting to round up illegals who have been here a long time who just want to work. And that shouldn't be the first priority, folks. It shouldn't. I have compassion because, once again, if you haven't been out of this country to a third world country or fourth world country, if you haven't been to some places in Mexico, I'm not talking about Cancun or Acapulco or Cabo San Lucas. I'm talking about places in Mexico where people literally live on the side of the road, where people literally have to collect banana leaves to make a roof over their head. If they want to stay dry, they're literally going looking for boxes, and they're setting up on the side of a mountain. They set up boxes and banana leaves and any other leaves from trees they can find to make shelter. There are people in Mexico and places like India and some other places that literally, you ever seen that show Naked and Afraid or in the South, naked and afraid, where they're dropped in the middle of a jungle or somewhere and they have to make shelter. There are people that live like that. That's poverty. They don't have running water. They've never had running water. They don't have these luxuries. They can't go down to the local YMCA because there is no local YMCA. That's poverty. This country, yes, I know people struggle. And they struggle because of the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party causes you misery. They really do. Today's Democrat Party isn't the party of JFK. Go listen to some speeches from JFK. JFK sounded like a Republican of today. JFK, who's a darling of the left, unless you're a new left-winger progressive like AOC, you won't hear AOC talk about JFK. They would have kicked JFK out of the Democrat Party, just like they want to put Robert Kennedy in jail because he dares question things. Listen, I'm not saying what RFK is doing is right or wrong, but there's nothing wrong with questioning government. There's nothing wrong with questioning the way things are done. But JFK couldn't be a Democrat today. JFK, if you go back and listen to his speeches, he believed in a strong America. He believed in a strong military. He believed in cutting taxes. Yes, a Democrat, John F. Kennedy, believed in cutting taxes. It's not the way it is today. Folks, you can cut taxes and you'll have prosperity and you'll have people with more money in their pockets in this country and you'll lift people out of poverty. Capitalism itself has lifted more people out of poverty than any other form of government in the world. You got that? And so when you couple capitalism with free market policy and growth policies, you're going to lift more people out of poverty. You're going to put more people in the labor force. You're going to take people off dependency. You know who doesn't like that? Your Democrat Party. Your Democrat Party loves dependency. Your Democrat Party loves ignorance. That's your Democrat Party of today. Go listen to JFK, folks. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go. You've got these awesome, incredible devices that are in the palm of your hand that have more power than most computers, or at least most computers used to have. You can pull out that little device. In fact, you can now, you're so lazy, you can ask AI to find things for you. And you can go find a JFK speech, a John F. Kennedy speech. Go listen to his speech on the economy. He talks about cutting taxes. He talks about shrinking government. He talks about having a strong middle class. And the only way to have a strong middle class is to not tax them to death. And the only way you create jobs in this country is to not tax the people who have money, the job creators. You don't tax them to death. Folks, the worst thing you can engage in, you want to slow down your ability to achieve the American dream, then start buying into class warfare. Start buying into class warfare. If you want to put a chip on your shoulder, folks, let me tell you something. This is something else that my parents used to teach us. You want to know who's going to stop you from achieving the American dream. You want to know the only person that can stop you from achieving whatever dream you want to chase is that person you see in the mirror every morning. Every morning. Every morning you can look in that mirror and you can say, I'm going to have a chip on my shoulder and I'm going to be pissed off today. Or you can look at that and say, you know what? Today's going to be a better day. Today, I'm going to be the best janitor. I'm going to be the best street sweeper. I'm going to be the best waiter. I'm going to be the best bartender. I'm going to be the best salesman. My goodness, there's a guy here at 106.3, Extra 106.3, and it's Christmas Eve, and he was at his desk, because I can see out the studio window. He was at his desk at, 6:15, 6:30 this morning, 7 o'clock or 7:30, whatever it was. Christmas Eve. That's dedication. Now, I'm not saying you gotta work on Christmas Eve, but what I'm telling you is you get up in the morning, as you look in the mirror, and you say, "Today's gonna be a better day. You're gonna be another step closer to your dream." And stop putting chips on your shoulder, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. I went through life, high school, all of 5'2" if I was wearing the right shoes. You know how hard it is to be a dude in a high school, a public high school, a government school, at 5'2" or 5'3" if you're wearing the right shoes? It's not easy. And ladies and gentlemen, if I had to put a chip on my shoulder because I was short, I wouldn't be where I am today. And honestly, folks, thanks to my parents, I didn't even know I was short until I got to college. I didn't realize I was short until I got to college and I was walking across the quad and I noticed, holy crap, all I can see are belt buckles and the brand of jeans people are wearing. I just didn't realize it because I didn't focus on it. I focused on what I could do, not what I couldn't do. Folks, I used to race a motocross bike around that I can't touch the ground on. I had to have a picnic table or a big old tree stump to get on this thing or run next to it and jump on it while it's moving. Yeah, you focus on the things you can do. Now, okay, I'll get off that soapbox. But when it comes to this immigration stuff, I'm telling you, I had illegal immigrants coming up to me and telling me they didn't like the Biden illegals. They actually said this. They said, I'm a Bush illegal or I'm a Clinton illegal. I've been here a long time. And the only law I broke was to come into this country to seek a better life. And now I'm working and working and working and I'm making money for my family. And I've got my family together and we all live in one house and we're working and saving money. But then Biden let all these bad illegals. They actually said this to me. They said, I'm a good illegal. You want me here. But Biden's letting in the bad illegals. They told me this in 24, and they supported President Trump. They couldn't vote for him, but they supported him, and they told me this because they didn't want the Biden illegals. They told me that the Biden illegals and the Kamala illegals were giving the good illegals a bad name. They actually told me this, and I tell you this because of this. President Trump and his administration, you've got to understand there are good Hispanics, there are good people like Luis who has good people working for him, and they're being accosted by ICE, and this should not happen. If ICE, I understand mistakes can be made. I wouldn't mind if ICE pulled me over. Folks, I've gotten pulled over before coming out of Florida. They thought I was a drug runner. But once they figured out I wasn't, they let me go, and they were very apologetic. So if ICE, if you pick up somebody like Luis's drivers and you've got them detained, and you once they show you, hey, I've got a permit, I've got papers, I've got everything, then you let them go. You don't detain them just to detain them. Because President Trump, please listen to me. And I know there are people out there that listen to me. I know there are people out there that hear me. Just you got to get this message to the Trump administration. You got to go back to what you promised. Go get the bad ones. Go get the gangbangers. Get the wife beaters. Get the child abusers. Get the drug runners. Get them out of here. Focus on them. Don't focus on the grandmother that's been here for 30 years. Don't focus on the truck driver that's been here for 30 years. Don't focus on these people that have the only law they broke was to be here. We can figure out what to do with all of them, what we're going to do once we get the bad ones out of here. Trust me on this, folks. Trust me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere.
President Trump is restoring freedom, bringing justice back to America, and restoring power to the people. And the conservative voice of Atlanta has his back and will always bring you the national and local voices you need when it matters most. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
I am Michael Green, chef and third-generation owner of Matthew's Cafeteria, located on Main Street in historic downtown Tucker, Georgia. We have been serving Southern comfort favorites since my grandparents opened the doors in 1955. 70 years later, Matthew's is still preparing those same recipes. Come in today, grab a tray and sit down to award-winning fried chicken, turkey and dressing, hand-peeled mashed potatoes, and made-from-scratch biscuits, pies, and cobblers. Serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 6 days a week. Come and see us today and experience the Matthew's way.
Hey, this is John Flading from ATL Turfco. We're a family-owned and operated independent local company here in the Atlanta area. We've been in business for over 15 years. We install several different types of artificial grass. One is landscape, which looks like real grass for your lawn. The next one is pet turf. Pet turf is a little bit shorter than landscape and it's more durable. And the other one is putting greens. If you can dream it, we can build it. Just go to atlturfco.com to schedule an appointment.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers with my dad, Mike. And Dad, we've got Atlanta's best jewelry selection and the experts to help you find the perfect piece. Silver bracelets, gold chains, colorful gemstones, Swiss timepieces.
We've picked out some classics for incredible holiday savings now through Christmas. 20% off all diamond essentials, diamond studs, hoops, tennis bracelets, and more in natural and lab grown.
Plus, we've got 12-month 0% APR financing. Kennesaw, Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
Hi, it's Los, here with Tom Mitchell, the Honest Car Guy. Tom, you are changing the way people are buying their next pre-owned car or truck. How are you doing it?
You know, Lowe's, we found a better way for customers to buy a car. An honest way, a very transparent way. You pay what we pay plus our honest fee.
How do you prove that?
We even prove it to you by giving you a copy of the bill of sale at the end of the deal.
How much can people save when they buy their next vehicle with the Honest Car Guy?
I've saved people upwards of $20,000 and $30,000. I mean, it really depends on the year, the make, the model of the car, and the price of the car. You know, on a $15,000 car, I can't save you $20,000. We can probably save you $2,000 or $3,000. But it's through the course of the whole sale. The big one here that people don't realize, the financing. You go into the dealership, they tell you your rate's 9%. Well, really, it's probably 7% because they're allowed to make 2 points on there. The Honest Car Guy, you'll save an average of $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the price of the car.
Folks, if you want to save thousands on your next pre-owned car or truck, try the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or honestcarguy.com.
Join Southern Thunder Barbecue School for hands-on learning, standing shoulder to shoulder with the pros. It's a day-long cooking school experience with personalized training from award-winning barbecue grand champions. This makes a fantastic holiday gift you can purchase online at southernthunderbbq.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Wednesday, December 24th. The FBI in Atlanta seized a fraudulent domain used in a bank account takeover scheme, halting a scam that caused about $14.6 million in real losses and $28 million in attempted losses nationwide. The scheme used fake search ads on Google and Bing to redirect victims to phony bank websites that captured login credentials, which criminals then used to access and drain accounts. At least 19 victims were identified across the U.S., including 2 in Georgia. 3 men who broke out of a compromised cell at the DeKalb County Jail, including a murder suspect, were arrested in South Florida following a multi-agency search. Authorities say they used jail phones to coordinate with contacts outside, then took a lift to get out of Georgia and were tracked and detained without incident. And Georgia State Troopers will be on high-visibility patrols across interstates and highways through the holiday travel period as AAA expects almost 3.5 million Georgians to hit the roads. Officials are reminding motorists to buckle up, slow down, and drive sober. Last year, state law enforcement issued 10,000 citations during this time. Today's weather partly cloudy with a high of 73. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
And a very Merry Christmas Eve, ladies and gentlemen. I love Mannheim Steamroller. Love this time of year, folks. You can't beat it. Please enjoy it. Please enjoy this time of the year. My goodness, it'll be gone before you know it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Extra 106.3. If you haven't got the app, please get the app. Extra 106.3. Get the app, and you can listen to me and any other show on this station anytime you want. It's awesome. Okay, so folks, let me tell you something real quick. I'm not kidding. You gotta be positive. And I will tell you a moment that I will never forget. I was a kid. I couldn't have been more than, I bet you I was maybe 10, 11 years old. I'll never forget this. But we were outside and somebody actually came up and called my dad a pretty derogatory name that people call Hispanics, or they used to call Hispanics. It starts with an S. And I'm not going to say it because I don't know if I'll get in trouble or not. And I'm kind of new to 106.3 and I don't want to get kicked off. But I'll never forget this because they called my dad this name. And my dad looked at me and he goes, you know what? They can call me whatever they want. They can call me whatever they want. And who cares? Words aren't going to hurt me. And one day, that person that just said that to me is going to be asking me for money. And by golly, years later, that person was asking my dad for money. So I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, don't let, especially words, especially just don't carry chips on your shoulder. So I'm just don't do it. Okay. I want to do something real quick. I do this sometimes on my show, and I haven't done it in a long time on the Victor Armendariz Show. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I am Victor Armendariz, Armendariz. Look me up, please. I would appreciate you to follow me, the Victor Armendariz Show. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on X, follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, wherever you can find me. Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear more of me, this show and every show I do will be on Spotify. Everything I do gets put on Spotify. It's podcasted to Spotify, so please find me on Spotify, Victor Armendariz Show. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Just again, spell it correct. Armendariz, Victor Armendariz. You're Mexican, not afraid to be American. Not afraid to be American. So what I do a lot, I haven't done it in a while, but we're going to do a Second Amendment update, ladies and gentlemen. Second Amendment update.
Yosemite Sam! It's Yosemite Sam! Yosemite, yeah, Yosemite Sam!
And if you don't know Yosemite Sam, then shame on you and shame on your parents, because you need to go look him up. Go to YouTube. I'm sure Yosemite Sam is all over YouTube. Folks, listen, for the Second Amendment update, and I want to talk to you real quick. If you're listening to me and you're in Georgia right now, if you've got time today, I want you to drive north. I want you to go up to Jasper, Georgia. And I want you to stop in at a place called Appalachian Gun. I got this past weekend, and I got to tell you, because you guys heard me last week when I told you to go enjoy Christmas time. Get out there, go to Stone Mountain, go to Callaway Gardens, go to Lake Lanier Islands, go visit these wonderful places that put on great Christmas shows and Christmas lights and things. Well, let me tell you something, you Second Amendment lovers. If you're a Second Amendment lover like me, and I'm an avid target shooter, folks. I don't do a lot of hunting, but I do target shooting. I love it. And I've got a place for you. You've got to go visit Appalachian Gun. Appalachian Gun, their pond, their range, their training. These guys train SWAT teams, folks. I mean, they don't play. They don't play. These guys this is legit. But if you've ever been to a gun store, you haven't been to one until you go to Appalachian Gun. I found these guys up in Jasper. It's amazing. You go into this place, it's a family-owned business, and now I hope they don't mind, but I've met the owners several times now, and I consider them friends and family now. Just two of the most amazing people, the amazing family that you'll ever meet. It's actually three, because I believe their son works with them. Just amazing people. Absolutely amazing people. But this Appalachian Gun, you go there, folks. It's not like being in a gun store, a stuffy or anything like that. You're actually going to want to stay. You're going to want to hang out. They'll give you coffee. I mean, they'll hang out. I mean, you're going to want to hang out there and get to know these people. But what's so awesome, let me tell you what they did. Let me tell you what they did for the community. On last Saturday, they flew Santa Claus in on a helicopter, landed because they got a great piece of property. So you got the gun store, you got the parking lot, and then they got a dirt area where they do different. I mean, folks, they put up a fighting ring, and they've sponsored these fights and things that like MMA type stuff. They do some really cool stuff. So, and this is in Jasper, Georgia. I mean, I'm telling you, drive up there. And the reason why I'm telling you to drive up today is if you've got kids, Santa Claus came on a helicopter this past Saturday, and he left a lot of presents under their tree, and there's an extra presents there. And I'm sure that Ralph and Kim are not going to mind. I hope they don't mind. Please don't kill me, Ralph. And trust me, folks, Ralph could step on me if he wanted to. If he wanted to. He's a big dude. Hopefully they won't mind, but Santa Claus left some extra presents. If you've got a kid, go up to Jasper, Georgia, go up to Appalachian Gun and walk in there, and they will let your child pick out one of the extra presents that Santa left behind last Saturday. They're under the tree. But I got to tell you, I love to point out good businesses, especially when I can tie it into a Second Amendment update. And when I can do that, because, folks, you know how I feel about the Second Amendment. There's nothing greater in this country. There's a reason the Second Amendment is the Second Amendment. You wouldn't have a first were it not for the second. And when the founding fathers put the first down, they were astute enough to go, you know what? This First Amendment's a pretty big deal. We're going to have to give the people the power to keep it. And that's how the Second Amendment was born. The Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting. Nothing to do with hunting. The Second Amendment has everything to do with you keeping your government in check. And I'm going to tick off a lot of liberals. A lot of Democrats are not going to like what I just said. In fact, I probably just sent a whole bunch of liberal Democrats to their cry closets with their panties in a wad, and I don't care. Sometimes you got to do that. You got to send them to their cry closet sometimes. But that Second Amendment is the Second Amendment is probably the shortest and most concise amendment in the Bill of Rights. There's a reason that it's that concise, because they wanted no ambiguity, and there is no ambiguity. There's none. It is very clear that the government shall not infringe on your right to bear arms. I know I'm paraphrasing here, but it is very, very concise, the Second Amendment. And we are who we are, and we are a country that, go back and look at World War II, when the Japanese admiral was asked, why didn't you guys hit the land in the United States? And he said, because behind every blade of grass is an American with a gun. And you're darn tootin' right. You are darn tootin' right, baby. There's a comedian out there that does a funny, maybe producer Jerry can find it for next time. There's a comedian out there that does a really funny joke about if ever somebody attacked the United States, by the time the Marines got there, the war would be over, because the rednecks and NASCAR fans would have already ended it. I mean, well, that is if they were to attack the South. Now, I can't speak for the New Yorkers and you Yankees up there, and you Democrats around that don't believe in the Second Amendment. I mean, shame on you. Maybe you can get taken over, but we here in the South, we're never going to be taken over. But anyway, folks, so for this Second Amendment, I just want to highlight a good business when I find one, an Appalachian Gun up there in Jasper, Georgia. And if you can get out there today, I hope, I'm pretty sure they're open today. I don't know how long, folks. I don't know how long they're open today, but you can maybe take your child out there and let them pick a present that Santa Claus left behind. Because I got to tell you what, it was just amazing. I mean, they literally flew a helicopter, landed in the parking lot, or to the side of the parking lot, and Santa Claus jumps out of the helicopter, and he goes and sits down, and he gives out toys. There was a line practically around the building of kids waiting to sit with Santa and get their gift. That's what Appalachian Gun did for the community, and it was absolutely amazing. And you know what else? Appalachian Gun didn't care how you voted. They didn't ask how you voted. They didn't care if you were left-winger, progressive, moonbat. If you brought a child up there, they were going to get a present. They were going to get a gift from Santa. In fact, Ralph told me a story, and folks, this is great, of a story of a left-wing, very, let's just say, colorful-haired Democrat who came into the gun store because they realized they needed to protect themselves. And while they weren't really an advocate for the Second Amendment, they weren't a gun owner yet, they came in there with their hoity-toity elitist Democrat attitude. But you know what? The owner of Appalachian Gun talked to him and said, hey, listen, protecting yourself is not a bad thing. Being able to protect your home is not a bad thing. Being able to protect your family is not a bad thing. And then by the time they got to talking, this liberal Democrat bedwetter looked at Ralph and was like, wow. They were generally impressed because Ralph was so nice. That's the way it should be, folks. Listen, that's the difference between conservatives and liberals or left-wingers, progressives. We conservatives, we don't care. We'll talk to you. We're not going to not be friends with you, and we're not going to not do business with you just because you're a left-winger. But look how many progressives out there try to kill businesses because you don't agree with them. That's pretty messed up. That's a terrible business model, but I don't know how left-wingers get away with it, but some of them do. It's crazy to me. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I just wanted to point that out. I wanted to point out Appalachian Gun. They're wonderful friends, and you're going to want to go check it out. If you can't make it today, and I understand it's Christmas Eve, just go visit this weekend. You will thank me. You will thank me for visiting them. So it's awesome. So, all right, folks, listen, I want to get back to, listen, I could talk about immigration for a long time. Because Biden did such a bad thing, which is why, listen, the Trump administration is doing what they can. They really are. Donald J. Trump is not a vindictive guy. Donald Trump is not an evil guy. Donald Trump is not a mean guy. Donald Trump truly has the American citizen in his mind. And ladies and gentlemen, no country in this world should put their citizens second or third. The citizens come first. So there's nothing wrong with putting the American citizen first. And I think Donald Trump wants to do that. President Trump is really trying to help the American citizen. Doesn't matter if you voted for him or not. He's trying to help the citizen. He's going into community. My gut feeling is President Trump should just stay out of blue states. If the blue states don't want your help, let them have crime-ridden cities until the people wake up and start voting them out, the Democrats out. But Donald Trump's not doing that. He's going into these cities anyway because he wants to protect the community and protect Americans, whether they voted for him or not. Now, I don't care if you agree with me or not, folks. That's the truth. Donald Trump doesn't need to do what he's doing. Donald Trump didn't need to run for president. How many politicians do you know were rich before they went into politics? There aren't many. There aren't many politicians that can say they were already wealthy before they went to politics. Then what a shame. But you've got Donald Trump, people that they vilify. These people vilify the media, the Democrats, and even some Republicans. They backstab President Trump when you actually have a guy here that's actually there doing what he's doing because he wants to help this country. He wants to make it a better place. Look, does Donald Trump get a little verbose? Does Donald Trump get braggadocious? Does Donald Trump, how do I say this? Does he blow things up a little bit and exaggerate? Yeah, he does. That's his style. Does Donald Trump know how to troll? He absolutely does. He's the best troller out there. He drives the Democrats nuts. He drives them nuts, and it's pretty fun to watch. But if you step back and you look through the bravado, you look past the braggadocious type of attitude, you look past the bragging, you look past the exaggerations and things like that, you can find real good policy that Donald Trump is doing for this country, where he's helping the citizen. He's helping the American citizen, and the American citizen should come first. Listen, folks, I have so much compassion for my people, as my dad would put it. You are my people. Folks, when we were in school, if I came home with good grades, my dad would say, you are my people. If I came home with a bad grade, he'd go, you are your mama's people. Drive my mom crazy, but that's what he would do. But my dad, he's a proud United States citizen now. Came to this country with nothing. Came to this country, couldn't even speak the language, and he became a citizen. He assimilated. He became a citizen. He did it the right way. And he wants the best for all of us siblings. And we were taught to love this country, but we were also taught to never forget where we came from. So we have people in Mexico. We have compassion. But you got to put the American citizen first, and there's nothing wrong with that. And when we come back, I'll talk a little more about it.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Wednesday, December 24th. From the NBA, the Hawks dropped another game to the Bulls in State Farm Arena last night. Final score 126-123. The Hawks have lost 4 in a row. They're back in action Friday night to right the ship as they host the Miami Heat. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. The San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder faced off last night in a matchup of the leaders of the Western Conference. San Antonio claimed victory 130-110. Oklahoma still holds the best record in the NBA at 26-4. And in the NFL, a full slate of football on Christmas Day, with the Dallas Cowboys visiting the Washington Commanders at 1, the Detroit Lions taking on the Minnesota Vikings at 4:30, and the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Denver Broncos at 8:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Oh no, what is that sound?
It's our rejection detection system. It's showing that several men across Georgia are being denied intimacy by their partners due to ED.
How can this be?
Well, it's more common than you think. As men age, their bodies change. And unfortunately, once they get over 50, some things don't work like they used to.
So what do we do?
There's only one thing to do. We need to get them to Dr. Eric Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. He can fix ED problems.
But how?
At Total Body Therapy of Georgia, they are experts in the P-shot, testosterone replacement, regenerative therapy, and Trimex to create an erection and more.
Hi, this is Dr. Eric Deal from Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Did you know that 50% of men over 50 struggle with some form of ED? Guys, it won't get better on its own. When it's not hard, it's really hard. But I can help you today. Call us at Total Body Therapy of Georgia at 404-777-1911 or learn more about us online at tbtofga.com.
An investment in your home is something that will pay off in the future, but it's something that you can enjoy right now. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. A beautiful new garage door, entry doors, and windows are an investment you can love every day, and they will increase your home's value, energy efficiency, and curb appeal. All Four Seasons, trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years, exceptional customer service, and high-quality work. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 seasonsgarages.com.
Jaron Solomon here, and every year there's a new phone, a new tablet, a new trend, but some things never lose their value or their sparkle. This Christmas, make it unforgettable at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. You'll find gifts that sparkle as bright as the season, from our famous diamond studs to timeless tennis bracelets and trendy yellow gold necklaces starting at $9.99. It seems like every year everything gets more expensive, except here. Our holiday gift guides make it easy to find the perfect piece, and with our low price guarantee and flexible financing, luxury has never been more accessible. This holiday season, choose timeless over temporary. Choose jewelry. Visit SolomonBrothers.com to explore the gift guides or book your private appointment today to further customize your shopping experience. Solomon Brothers, Atlanta's trusted Christmas destination for over 40 years.
Get a great deal on a new Subaru and give back. It's really that easy. For every new Subaru bought or leased during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru of Gwinnett will make a donation to national and local charities that our owners care about. The Subaru Share the Love event has supported more than 2,700 hometown charities. And by the end of our 18th year, Subaru and retailers like Subaru of Gwinnett will have donated more than $350 million to charity. It's the reason why we say Subaru of Gwinnett is more than a car dealer. We always go the extra mile for our community. And during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event, you get a great vehicle and support a great cause. With every new Subaru purchased or leased, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charities. Additionally, for every Subaru vehicle routine visit during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru of Gwinnett will donate $5 to our hometown charity. But it's only happening now through January 2nd, so hurry in to Subaru of Gwinnett, Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, and online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
It's midnight and the phone rings. It's a loved one calling from jail. They had a little too much fun at the holiday party and got pulled over. Now what? Time to call A Second Chance Bail Bonds. A Second Chance will get your loved one home quickly. For 20 years, they've been helping folks with 12 locations across Metro Atlanta and Birmingham and are available 24/7. For fast, professional, discreet services, call 404-BAIL-OUT. That's 404-BAIL-OUT or visit atlbail.com. A Second Chance Bail Bonds. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us.
Don't let your afternoon drive get bogged down with traffic and weather breaks. Just enjoy the Kimmer Show from 3 to 6 p.m.
During the Obama and the Bush administrations, and they showed up in the Middle East, you bombed a building,
30,000
or
bombs.
you bombed a truck, and you see them get out and they ran, and then you heard them say, okay, they're going a little to the left,
light them up.
left, and you light them up again. No one said a word.
Don't worry, it's only the Kimmer on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
And a very Merry Christmas Eve, ladies and gentlemen. I think producer Jerry found the comedian I was talking about. Do you have that soundbite by chance? Ladies and gentlemen, we'll finish up the Second Amendment update with this little gem. It's basically, and I'm going to forget the guy's name again, but there's an awesome comedian. He does this funny joke.
Yeah, his name's Louis Ramsey. Here we go.
The United States of America, most powerful country on this planet. And it's not because we have more money or we're better looking. No, it's because we have something in this country they don't have in other countries. That's right. I'm talking about rednecks. Good old boys with an arsenal in their basement that have been waiting for just such an occasion.
He's not wrong.
Since 1775.
That's right.
Believe me, foreign troops land in the South, there'll be a line of pickup trucks and NASCARs heading down I-95. Marines will show up 3 hours later, nothing but beer cans and shotgun shells. What the hell happened here? War's over, baby!
I love that, and he's not wrong. You attack the South, and you do it at your own peril. Because let me tell you, I'm not going to say how many Second Amendment tools I have, but I've got a few. I'm not kidding, folks. I left the city. I got sick of the city turning more blue, and that's a problem with the city of Atlanta. It's run by a bunch of bozos, and so I left. Mike took my family, and we got ourselves a small farm up in the mountains, and I love it. I love it. And you know what? Anytime I get a chance to make just really tick off a Democrat, I do it. And buying land is something the Democrats hate. Trust me when I tell you this stuff, folks. Listen, I'm not making this stuff up, and I'm not angry. I'm just right. The Democrats do not like ownership. They don't like private property. Listen to that bozo in New York City. I should be nice. I should be nice. I shouldn't call him names because that's not us. That's not the conservatives. But that guy Mandami, the Mandami up there in New York City, who's a professed socialist, he says it, not me. I mean, the guy even glowingly speaks of communism. Listen to his policies. He talks about, let me tell you, they always use these pretty words and pretty language. He talks about decommoditizing. Do you know what that means? Let me tell you, when you hear a Democrat, because you're not going to hear a Republican speak like this, and if you do, they're not a Republican. When you hear a Democrat socialist like Mandami walk around and say we want to decommoditize the way things are, what they're telling you is they want to do away with ownership. That is what. Look it up, ladies and gentlemen. Do a DuckDuckGo search, folks. Listen, I use DuckDuckGo, and you should too, because DuckDuckGo is not going to do. Google will try and when you put a search in, they try to put a left lean on it. If you do a search in DuckDuckGo, you're going to get news stories. You can decipher through them, and you can make your own decision. And DuckDuckGo doesn't follow you and do things like that. It doesn't track you and put a bunch of crap in front of you. If you put in a search, it's going to give you results, and then you can make up your own mind. And that's what you should do to verify anything I tell you. You can go do your own research. But I am telling you, the Democrats, when you hear them talk about decommoditizing, what they're doing is they want to go look at Communist Manifesto, and you can match it to what the Democrats are saying today. The Democrat language, Mandami's language, what he's talking about in New York, free grocery stores. Nothing's free, folks. Free transportation, free buses and all that. Oh, that's a joke. Somebody's going to pay for it. They're going to tax the crap out of somebody to pay for that stuff because they want to make you dependent. They want to make the masses dependent. You know who will never be subject to his own policy? Mandami. Because socialism is not for the socialist, it's for the peasants. Socialism is not for the socialist, it's for you and me. And we are considered peasants. All the New Yorkers who voted for this Mandami character, you are peasants in his eyes. Because nothing Mandami does, the misery and the burdens that Mandami's policy is going to put on the people of New York City will never be felt by him. They will only be felt by the dumb voter that voted for him. And folks, let me tell you something. It is very easy to vote yourself into socialism. But when you try to get out, that's a whole different story. You almost have to fight your way out of socialism. Look at Venezuela. Venezuela used to be one of the most richest, if not the richest country in South America. Rich beyond belief. And then that they elected a socialist leader. I can't remember the first guy's name, and now they got Maduro. And they have turned the number one great rich country into a poor cesspool. But you know who's not? You know who's still fat and well-fed? Maduro, the socialist, because socialism is never for the socialist, it's only for the peasant. And you, my friend, are the peasant, whether you know it or not. And so you've got to understand, when you hear Democrats speak the language, listen to them, folks, because the Democrats, they will tell you what they're doing. You just got to listen. And they'll use language like decommodify. They'll use that language because they're hoping you're too dumb to figure out what they're saying. And they're hoping you're too dumb to understand that's Marxist language. That's communist language. That's socialist language. Because what they want to do is they want to decommoditize you, all right. They want you out of home ownership. They want you out of car ownership. They want you on a government train. They want you dependent. Folks, let me tell you, when the government can control how you move around, and then they control your health care, they can control everything about you by just controlling those two things. And what do the Democrats do? What is California? They make it so it's so cost prohibitive that once you're living there and you've been living there, you can't get out. New York City, if you're not one of the elite, you can't get out. That's what the Democrats do. They make it so bad and so costly that not only is it costly to live there, you don't have the money to get out. You can't go run to Tennessee. Not everybody can run to Tennessee or Georgia or Florida or the Carolinas or Alabama. Not everybody can do that. And that's the way the Democrats want it. They don't like you moving around freely. They want you stuck in their states, and they want you dependent on them because that gives them forever power. The more dependency they create, the more power they get. And that, my friends, is awful. And that ought to make you want to run away from the Democrat Party. And listen, you're listening to a guy who grew up being told that I had to be a Democrat because of the color of my skin. I was told, my father was told ever since he came here, when my dad arrived here from Mexico, he was told. When my uncle arrived here with my dad from Mexico, they were told they had to be Democrats. I remember having discussion after discussion with my dad and my uncle Juan. We used to talk about politics because once I reached my latter years of high school and really when I got into college and I started reading for myself and really getting into politics and getting an understanding of politics, I naturally was gravitating to the conservative side. Now, eventually, my family came with me. But we were told for years, hey, you're a brown guy. You got to vote Democrat. Well, folks, not anymore. If you're a minority out there, trust me, fellow minority, if you're out there, you need to run away, not walk away. You run away from the Democrat Party. That doesn't mean that maybe someday the Democrat Party may change its ways and become a JFK party again. But right now, they're not that party. Right now, they are not that party. So trust me, folks, when I tell you, I'm not telling you this because I want to be mean to politicians. I'm telling you this because politicians are taking advantage of you. They're taking advantage of us. And the politicians are getting rich, fat, and comfortable. And we, the people, are getting in debt. We're using credit. I'm telling you, these especially the Democrat Party today, they don't have your best interest at heart. The Democrat Party today has more concentrated on how can they destroy Trump and his family rather than how can they help the American people. You know, if the Democrats wanted to, they could go in and set a meeting with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not an ideologue. He's probably the first and only president who really doesn't make decisions on R's and D's. He doesn't make ideological decisions. Donald Trump is a negotiator. He has a passion to negotiate, and that man will negotiate with anybody. You can call Donald Trump every name in the book and the devil, and you can hate him, and he can hate you. But the minute you call him up and say you want to make a deal, he'll make a deal with you. That's just the truth, folks. All right, folks, stay tuned. I'll be back next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Can't wait to see you. Have a great and Merry Christmas.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.